A few weeks ago, I had to check off an adult to-do of mine, which was to get my driver's license renewed. Exciting, I know. And when I got my new license back, I couldn't help but laugh, and I'll show you why. Hopefully this focuses, and if not, I will throw it up on screen. But seeing the sheer contrast in the two photos, you wouldn't even believe it's the same person, right? I mean, just looking at it on the surface, entirely different haircut, skin color is a lot tanner, definitely a little chubbier in the first photo. Skin is not as clear, still dealing with some acne breakouts. And that's the thing, right? It's that on the surface, you wouldn't believe it's the same person. But it's when I think about the timing of those photos, right? Taken about 3 or 4 years apart. And I think back to the person I was then and the person I am now. Do I realize that I've been the same person all along? That who I was at the time that first photo was taken, a literal snapshot of who I was at that time, was needed, a precursor, a different version of myself that I had to iterate and go through to become the person I am now. And when I think about the past 3 or 4 years, it really is marked by a journey, right? A journey of becoming. When I think about 2019 Dennis, let's call it that, I can see it in his eyes. I can still feel it. Being this insecure kid who was still being led by unresolved trauma, baggage, and conditioning, just going through life not really conscious of what was going on. Still seeking external validation, like a mouse pursuing a piece of cheese through a maze, right? Apologies if it's loud overhead, that's a helicopter, but in that sense, right, pursuing external validation like a mouse pursues cheese through a maze. At that time, unbeknownst to me, all of those twists and turns, dead ends that seemed at the time absolute, were all necessary. All of those different phases and pursuits that I went through. So many times, it felt like there was no way out, that the path wasn't clear, that I'd be stuck in this maze forever, just on a constant repeating cycle of seeking and never finding what it is I was truly looking for. But the thing is, as I mentioned, that initial version of myself being entirely necessary to become who I am now, so too are all of those steps in between, all of the directionless wandering, which at the time seemed directionless, but in reality, were intentional. Because deep within me and deep within you is a feeling, a knowing of where you must go, of the path forward, even if it doesn't seem that way at the time. In the past couple of years especially, that journey has really taken off for me, but it had started in that first photo and even earlier than that. And fate would have it, I would eventually find my proverbial cheese. And the interesting thing is, the cheese wasn't at the center of the maze, but rather at the very beginning. It was there all along, right? And when I had arrived, it wasn't cheese that I was looking for, or maybe the cheese is a metaphor for finding myself, arriving at myself, and needing to go through that journey to realize it, right? Because at the end of the day, life is not necessarily about figuring out who you are, but realizing who you've always been. And to realize who you've always been means you have to go through life being someone you're not for a bit. For some, longer than others. And that's the thing. We all have this sense of who we are, of returning and arriving, right? But it takes time, and above all, it takes stillness. When you're in the maze, as easy as it is to get flustered or to listen to all the noise around you, whether it's people around you, society, so on and so forth, when you really sit with yourself in the silence of the maze, and you tune into that voice, that knowing within you, you'll feel your way through. And when you return to yourself, you'll realize everything that you've been through in life, all of the apparent or seemingly mistakes or wrong turns at the time, were all necessary. We're all planned. We're all known for you to get to who you are, who you've always been. And I guess the question lies now, right? What next? Now that I'm at the proverbial cheese, I'm out of the maze, I've returned to myself, well, I don't know if I can say that we ever truly know ourselves, right? That ultimately, it's a destination that we hope we can return to, that we think we can arrive at, but in reality, we find ourselves through the journey. I suppose that's where I'm at. I hope to know and understand myself more through this journey that I'm going to be embarking on in life. And the thing is, There's no maze anymore. There's no confines for where I can be, who I can be, where in this massive expanse that is the world, that is the universe, that I can go. There's no cheese, just me. Just me and that knowing inside my soul that I'm listening to, that I'll continue to listen to as I continue to find my way. So, with that being said, I hope you take this as a message, an opportunity for you to think and reflect on your own life. If you feel like you are stuck, if you're lost, as if you have no direction, as if you don't know what's next in life, or you're anxious or afraid of what's next, you'll be okay. Just take your time, slow down, be still. Listen to that inner voice, that knowing that is within you, not outside or around you, but deep within you. It's always been there. It always has. If you follow that knowing, you'll end up where you've always meant to be. You'll become who you've meant to be, the person you've always been. And once you return, you realize who you've always been all along, the world will open up to you in a way you could never imagine. I wish you the best on your journey, as I know you'll find your way through. And I'm here with you, to support you along the way. So, with that, I'll catch you later. See you tomorrow.